You just tell me when.
I'm trying to keep both of these open.
We are. Okay, we are going live right now. Are you okay? You've got that all sorted out with your
Yeah.
your console?
Yeah, we're all good.
It's a great way to start off a live video. All right, we're going to wait here for just a second while people are hopping in. We are live on YouTube as well and on Facebook. So I'll give it just a second for people to kind of join us here, but we're going to be talking about Nintendo. Looks like people are joining in. So hello, everyone. This is Close to the Metal. This is our weekly podcast where we talk about gaming and PCs and, well, not necessarily gaming, but we go in depth on a lot of things. And today we are going to be talking about gaming. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch and kind of where it fits in the world of gaming, how it compares to PC gaming, how it compares to consoles. I'm Greg Nibbler here with Mr. Brad Burke.
How's it going?
Doing well. Brad, you're looking resplendent. Your beard almost
you.
matches your shirt. It's kind of one big solid thing that you've got going
Yeah,
there.
I'm hoping I can kind of grow and fill it out and get a nice...
Get the full neck beard
yeah,
going.
kind of a fade into the sweater, you know.
The neck beard's not the topic today, but if you have comments on it, please go ahead and leave those on there. So we're going to be live on YouTube and Facebook, and we want to hear your comments, what you guys think, as we get into this. So I guess what I want to start off with, though, is with this Nintendo Switch announcement. You know, we've got a great video at Digital Trends kind of showing a hands-on, and we've got some images. We've found out a lot more about it here in just the last couple of weeks, and I'm curious if you out there, if you're excited about it. Have you already pre-ordered one? Is this something you've been waiting for a long time? It's been getting a lot of interesting comments as far as what people think about it. You know, whether people are excited. If you're a Nintendo person, this is a long time coming. You know, you're really stoked on it. But for some people, you know, it may be something that it's like, yeah, okay, Nintendo. I've kind of moved past that. You know, I'm on to Xbox or PlayStation or something. I'm not going to be switching back to going into Nintendo. And, you know, and Brad's written a really good article about this at digitaltrends.com. But maybe starting off, let's talk about what games are going to be available for this. Like, what games are going to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch?
Well, they've already announced some, like, really classic titles. Like, they've got a Super Mario Odyssey. So you've got, like, what looks kind of like a kind of classic 3D Mario platformer, which is cool. You've got a new Legend of Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, which they said is also coming to Wii U, but they said it won't be kind of an optimal version of the game. Not really clear what that means, but, you know. And then Fire Emblem 2. It's a nice RPG, action RPG that people really like. Not a big fan myself. Never really played them, but I know people really like those, and they've already announced it, so that too.
Okay, I'm taking a look here too, just really quick at the chat. So, like I said, we're live on YouTube and Facebook as I'm reading this. We've got some. Andrew says, "I'm excited. I pre-ordered one. I'm a PC guy, but I still love Nintendo games," which is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Kind of how that fits into the world of it. Mr. Objection, that's a great name. Sounds like you're a supervillain on YouTube. Says, "As a PC gamer, I want to buy a Switch. I can play games that look better than on a Wii U, PS3, 360, everywhere I go." And that's another good point of what Nintendo has done with this. Taking a look here on Facebook, people are definitely excited about Zelda. Zelda coming out. Rich says Zelda ? See, Zelda is, for me, that's the one. It's not going to be the Mario games. It's going to be Zelda. That's going to be the one that would persuade me to get back into Nintendo. Because I'll be honest, I haven't bought a Nintendo since the original. Like that's the last time.
Wow.
I've played on everything else. I've had friends with Wii, you know, with a Wii, but yeah, I haven't bought one since the original Nintendo. So this would be something that I would actually want to get back into. What do you think, Brad?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, you know, especially Zelda. I'm a huge Zelda fan, and people have been kind of saying, "Oh, well, it's open world. That's sort of weird, isn't it? Oh, it's an open world game."
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are both sort of open world games, in that you can go a lot of places and you sort of, you know, unlock them by, you know, getting access to them through other ways. But, you know, in a lot of ways, I think Nintendo is looking back at its past and saying, you know, these are the kind of games that people loved playing.
Right.
You know, Ocarina of Time, I think, stands out to me as one of the best Legend of Zelda games. And, you know, watching all these videos of people playing Breath of the Wild, it feels so reminiscent of that, you know, that time.
Hitting all the nostalgia notes, maybe,
Yeah.
for everybody who grew up playing those kinds of games.
Because I think that is, you know, sort of a thing about a lot of those games, is they're a little divisive in that either you either grew up playing them or you found them at some point, you know, playing Mario Kart in college or whatever, and
Right,
you found those games and either you really sank your teeth into them and said, I'm going to play Mario Kart forever, or you just were like, I don't care, what is this game, you know, who are these Toad people, like, you know, it's such a divisive thing, especially I think Legend of Zelda and Pokemon especially is this classic Nintendo title that some people think is super dumb, and some people are like,
Yeah.
fanatics for it. So
Right. So it's hitting that. Do you think it's going to be enough to get somebody who's never played those games to switch over?
So I think that's part of the draw too, is that you
Yeah.
can, especially with the Switch, you get these nice little simple controllers to the point where, like, Mario Kart, you don't really have to explain to somebody how to
Yeah.
play Mario Kart. You're
If-
just
yeah.
like, that's go, that's steer, off you go. And they have those, they showed off some of those games too, like the milking the cow, and it's a really awkward emotion to make. And
that's-
there's like a pistol drawing game.
Yeah, these are some of the games that they did showcase. Yeah, the milking the cow one, I don't really understand the point of that game. You just milk a cow, which, again, Brad can demonstrate that hand motion there.
Clearly, you've never played a Mario Party game, because there's all sorts of weird stuff like that in Mario Party games.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Like pump up the balloon and all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
just, it's a rich history of odd hand
Of
motions.
just strange,
yeah,
strange things to play, and that is kind of one of the exciting things about the Switch. Let's get into and again, if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, let us know what games you're excited about, or maybe some you would like to see come to the Switch platform, and as they start rolling these things out. Let's talk a little bit about like the system itself, the form factor, and just kind of maybe recap some of that as far as what we know so far on the Switch.
Well, so it's sort of built around a central tablet with two, they call them Joy-Cons, I think, that slide up on the side, and they recharge actually when they're attached to the console, which is kind of nice.
It doesn't look like a console. It doesn't look like a console. It looks a little more like
down
a.
on a table, and then you and your friend can pick up the controllers and play, or you can, mount yours onto. They have a little plastic dealie that you can mount the Joy-Cons onto and use it as
Dealie
a
is the
full-size
official term.
controller. Dealie,
Yeah.
Yeah, dongle.
Thingamabob.
Yeah. So, like, there's a really, I think a lot of people have kind of pointed out that portability is really awesome. The idea of, like, sitting down, like, waiting for a plane or something, like when we go to, like, conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
I imagine one of these would be invaluable when you're waiting at the airport in a layover, and you can pop out the thing and get a little Mario Kart
When
in.
all your flights get canceled because it's snowing in Portland and you can't
Right.
get home. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to have one of
That
these
would've
on
been
that trip.
Would have been a great
Oh my
time
God.
for it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that portability factor and being able to take that straight from there. I know there's been some comments, and if you have questions about this, let us know if you have any questions or many questions about the Switch and about how it works, or concerns, or something that would concern you as far as buying it. Right now, we've got a video playing as well that just kind of shows the hands-on that Jeffrey got to have with it in New York, and it is. I mean, I got to say, this is one of the first times that I'm really considering buying a completely new system. Although the entry price is what, $300?
$300,
Yeah.
which isn't bad when you consider that most of the other consoles started higher than that and then sort of fell down to that price point. I think $300 for a console, when they include all the pieces to use it in all their different form factors. You're not having to spend $90 to buy the extra docks or whatever, and it's all just included. I think that's a good deal, and it'll probably there are some bundles that come with games already, and knowing Nintendo, there will be lots of those $15, $20 price points.
Yeah. Taking a look here in the live chat of Facebook, Joe says, I'm excited because I can take my game into another room if my family wants the TV.
See, I think that's something that they really hit on with the Wii U, and a lot of people thought, this weird tablet thing, and why do I have this? Mm-hmm. But, people talked about having their kids in the room when they're playing Call of Duty, and they can just pull the game of Call of Duty back to the tablet and show something else on the TV, and that works on its own. And it's the same idea here that, like, if you're not going to be able to match, in my opinion, and this is sort of more ethereal, I think, where it fits in with PC gaming, that when you have a big gaming desktop, you can have all the power you want, you can have all the performance you want, you can play it the best resolution, the best frame rate, and get that big experience. But if you're going to compromise on that experience and you get something like a PS4 or an Xbox and you're shooting for 900p, 30 frames per second in most of your games, not the best quality, I'd much rather have something like this where I'm going to say, like, I'm going to make a bigger compromise on quality, and I'm going to get portability, I'm going to get a form factor that's really cool and neat and does something that my computer can't do and my Xbox can't do either,
That's a good point. It seems like that's kind of an overriding thing here that everybody's talking about. Rich asks, how fast will all of the interchangeable controller parts wear out? That is a good question, because there's a lot of pieces that are going to be hauling around.
I would say that, but also, I think Nintendo has been building hardware for so long now. I've got Super Nintendo controllers that still work fine.
Yeah.
Like, if you take good care of them, this hardware can last a really long time.
My Duck Hunt game does not work. I will say that.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm a little.
Well,
bit
no,
upset
it's
about it.
because of your new TV.
Oh yeah, it doesn't work with the television. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Well, all right, they'll get a pass on that one then. That's what they do need to bring back though. Duck Hunt needs to come back on the Switch. But yeah, as we bounce through this in here again, if you have questions or anything that you want to comment on, please drop those into Facebook and let us know. Sarge says my son is excited for Mario Kart 8. I mean, Mario Kart is just a standby. I mean, that's a great game for or any kind of a group setting, or if you just want to challenge one of your friends and talk a lot of crap. I know that happens here at Digital Trends sometimes. But let's go on from the form factor and the portability, and talking about how that fits into this. It does seem like it's filling that gap that's been missing in the gaming world.
Yeah, especially with gaming laptops, it's so tough to build a laptop that has both really good power on the go that doesn't also just have a battery life that's terrible. Like there's really no good compromise. Either you're carrying around this laptop that's monstrously thick in order to get decent battery life, and even then, you're not going to break a few hours playing a game. And I'll take my 3DS on a trip, and I'll use that for a whole plane ride without having to worry about it. It takes if I need to, I can plug it into my little portable battery pack, and it'll run forever. And it's tiny; it fits in my backpack. I don't have to worry about it. It's just so much better when you need to go somewhere and you can't take a laptop with you. You can't take a desktop with you,
Right, yeah, and let alone, we'll get into the details too about as far as battery life and some of those issues. But continuing on here, talking about this, again, we're live on YouTube and Facebook. If you do have comments or if you have any things that you want to say, Christian says, I pre-ordered a unit, but my biggest concern is the lack of launch titles. And that's true. It does seem like it's going to be a while to roll out some of the games, just bouncing back to that really quick. Because Mario's not coming out for another 6 months, I think, right?
I mean, it's going to be a little rough at the beginning, but at the same time, what other console only had 2 games at launch?
Yeah.
N64. It only had Pilot Wings and Super Mario. So, there are... I think the fact that Nintendo's first-party offerings are so strong is going to be a big thing. Like, people being able to buy that Legend of Zelda game is going to get people to buy this console. And then the rest will come.
And then
I have
fill
faith
in the gap.
that they'll fill it in. It's not like we're looking at all of a sudden, a new PlayStation and all of the new IPs that might come with it. We're looking at recurring titles that have been tried and tested already. Like if you buy a Switch hoping, there's going to be Mario Kart at launch, but if you buy it hoping for a new Smash Bros., they haven't announced it, but guess what? You're getting one. Like they're not going to not release a Smash Bros. Title unless the thing... unless everyone discovers they explode within a week of launch or something,
Yeah,
barring
right.
cataclysmic events with these devices, I think you're going to see all of the titles you would expect. It's Nintendo. There aren't that many surprises,
Yeah, what's going to get rolled out. There will be a Mega Man at some point or whatever else they're going to have. So moving on here from talking about that, and then let us know. Let's see. RC says promises a steady supply to come. That's pretty much what you just said. Yeah, there will be plenty of games on the way once you buy into this system. But
plus classic titles. There's going to be tons of those. And they already said it's like a rental. It was just kind of weird that they said it's a 1-month rental of classic titles, so you actually lose it after a month. But
Morris says the last time these guys left their bedrooms in their mom's house was in 2012. So talking about our video game love, I think is what that was referring to. But all right, so let's move on to a couple of other things here with talking about where Switch fits into the gaming world. And that's kind of the overall theme of the article you wrote at digitaltrends.com. I mean, you're definitely a PC gamer. Well, I mean, you like games of all kinds, but PC gaming is a big passion of yours. And how does this fit? Because PC gaming seems like it's such a world, once you're in it, you don't, a lot of people just don't even play anything on a console. They just stick to PC gaming. How does this Switch fit into it? Like, let's get into this.
Well, I think a big part of it is that, you do have these exclusive titles. Because I own a PC, I own an Xbox, I own a PS4, and I look for games on the Xbox that I can't play anywhere else. I like to play Halo on there because that's where you play Halo, and I play Destiny on my PS4 because that's where you play Destiny. Games like The Last of Us 2, which have just this great appeal that draws you to those consoles.
Right.
But if you give me the choice of where am I going to play Overwatch, a game that's out for all three, I'm going to play it on PC. Every time I'm going to choose the PC.
If you have that choice,
If I have that choice. But what I don't have is Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I don't have that on my PC. And if you tell me, that's one of the reasons I bought a 3DS was I can take this thing and I can play Super Smash Bros. While I'm, waiting on the Max to get to work, that it really fills this gap in so many different ways that my gaming desktop and even gaming laptops can't keep up with. They just don't have any comparison to, and they're trying. And I really think that's great, especially when you talk about couch multiplayer games like Mario Kart and this 1-2 Switch stuff. That's something that they're trying to reach out into. That PC games have sort of increasingly gotten there, and hardware is getting smaller and more power efficient, which helps. And 10-foot interfaces are coming, and Steam's working on it. It's getting there. But for now, this is something that, it really appeals to me because I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, here's, 4 games that I can get for this that I cannot play on my PC, and I can take them to the office and play them on my lunch break.
Yeah, so it's that portability, I guess. Do you think it's the gaming that's going to drive people to this? Like those specific titles are going to be enough to drive somebody to that, or is it the portability factor?
I think it's the titles. I mean, even if it's just knowing that I can play Legend of Zelda and maybe some Skyrim on the go, there's nothing like that. That combination of exclusive titles and portability is something that's just impossible on the PC.
And everybody watching live too, if you're on YouTube or Facebook watching this, I'm curious what you guys think. Like, what would, if you're not going to buy a Switch, why aren't you? Or what would maybe drive you to buy one? Sarge says, Sarge says he likes PC gaming too. And I think that we've got a lot of PC gamers here that are watching right now. And yeah, I definitely want to hear your opinions on this of what it is that maybe you find appealing about the Switch or what you don't find appealing.
And Christian here mentioned too the value proposition of the online service doesn't work, and I agree with that totally. They should be giving out free games. Everyone else is giving out free games. If you're paying for it, I feel like that's a kind of consistent throw in now. That being said, one of Nintendo's not strong points, as awkward way to say that, one of Nintendo's weak points is online play, and always has been, because the systems are often intended to try and bring in a younger generation of gamers, and it's really hard to balance online safety with children and online play. It's a really, really tricky thing that has caused all kinds of headaches for people like me who really, want to play Smash Bros. Online with your friends, and they make it so difficult to do that. And they're so weird. But, the only way they're going to figure that out is by creating a console that really depends on it. And the Wii U didn't really depend on it. 3DS, really didn't depend on it. But I think the Switch is going to be so much more ingrained in an online atmosphere, an online marketplace, in a way that none of the previous consoles were. That Nintendo is going to have to sink or swim when it comes to online play.
And just just go into it, and then
they're going to have to. They're just going to have to figure it out and listen to feedback and listen to what people are saying, because they need to be able to deal with both those markets, because it's true, there are a lot of kids on these things playing Pokemon and stuff, and they need to be able to protect them while also letting people who are, 18 plus and 20 plus and whatever and 40 plus play online and
still
not have
be
to
able
worry
to
about
enjoy the gaming of that they want to enjoy. And that's a tough balance to make when it comes to anything like this. Let's talk about some more of your article just about the PC gaming culture. I mean, what else do you have to say on this as far as how they're going to make this switch, or why somebody would do this?
On what might bring them over?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, power is one of those things where I think PC gamers want to be able to have that really nice experience, that really high-end experience, and Nintendo consoles have never had that, and that's just sort of something you accept, that they're built with the limitations of that hardware in mind.
Yeah.
That being said, the system runs it up to 60 frames per second, which most games don't do on the PS4 and Xbox, and I think that's a huge difference. Like I know people kind of debate over the merits of 30 versus 60 versus 120 or 200 frames per second, but I will say if you put those right next to each other, if you put I think even if you put a 720p 60 frame per second screen versus a 900p 30 frames per second, you're going to pick the 60 frame per second.
Really, even though it's 720.
Yeah.
And that is what the tablet's going to be, right? It's 720. Yeah, so that's something I've seen some people bring up that as far as an issue of, they wanted something more. But you're right, when it's on this kind of screen and if it's running fast, then it's probably going to be okay. A couple of things here in the chat. Again, we do want to hear your comments on the Nintendo Switch and kind of where it fits in the world of gaming. And if you're a PC gamer, is this something that's going to make you switch over? I guess I've said that several times, dropping that in. Is it something that's going to make you want to cross over and get into the Nintendo? We've got GTX 1070 Gaming says, as a PC gamer, the Switch has something that I want so much, portability. And that seems to be one of the overriding things that we're hearing from people, is that portability factor and being able to take it from a television to something on the go, bring it with you wherever you go. That's kind of a great aspect of it. Let's see. Steve says, for me, the Switch isn't a day one buy, but it's definitely a holiday buy as its lineup builds. So that's another thing I think a lot of people may be waiting to get it until those games come out for it. I mean, you do have Zelda right off the bat, but if you're going to have to be waiting another few months for another big release, for the Mario release or whatever else they have coming up, that may be something too that could delay people as
There,
far as
there will
doing
be
that.
bundles too. That's always the fun thing about those first party games is there's just like there's a bundle for every single game that comes out. They'll
Yeah.
have a Mario Kart. I think they already have a Mario Kart 1 and Legend of Zelda, but they'll have the Super Mario bundle and things like they'll go crazy with
So
that
you'll
stuff.
end up getting
Yeah,
getting
and I do
games
think
more.
that might be a problem. Is that I think I don't pre-order games anymore. I've gotten burned on it.
Yeah.
I don't do it, and I won't pre-order hardware either. At least until somebody, hopefully at DT, has gotten their hands on a product for long enough to evaluate it and make sure that it's not there's not something critically wrong with it.
Right.
I haven't pre-ordered yet. That's not to say I won't buy one when it comes out. I'm hoping that there will be stock like they say there will be because I would really like one, but I'm not gonna. I don't like pre-orders, and I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it on principle.
Just not
Even
gonna
for
do it.
Nintendo.
Putting your foot down for it.
Yeah.
One thing, a couple of other things that finding out about the Switch that I thought was kind of cool is it's not going to be locked geographically, so you can play a game from Japan and that was always one of the fun things with Nintendo is finding those weird, strange games
Yeah.
that never came out here. You find it at the at a game trade shop. So this is not going to be locked to just the like North America or something like that.
Yeah, that's a cool move.
Yeah.
Something that other consoles should probably follow along with too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nintendo's always been kind of a leader in that, or at least originally was, and they've always gone their own route. And this really seems like they're going their own route and bridging that entire gap. Let us know what you think too here in the chat as we're talking about the Nintendo Switch and where it fits in the world of PC gaming. Let's talk about a couple other things with it. As far as I'm getting back to just kind of your article about PC gaming and about where it fits in this world. What else can you tell us about it? Like, what else are your thoughts on this, on the Nintendo?
Well, I think the Switch is an active again. Like it's Nintendo being really more self-reflective than usual. Like with the exception that I think the controllers maybe the Joy-Cons are I've heard pretty small.
Yeah, and I did see that in the video. That is one thing that definitely, we've got a picture here up. It does seem very small, and now you can use the controllers in a couple of different ways. They offer a lot of, because they obviously you can use it in several different ways. You can use it almost as a Wii controller. You can use it as a standard one. You can use it as two controllers, kind of using them both at the same time for punching or milking a cow, as we showed earlier. Or you can use it like a massive lineup. There's also a Pro version that's going to be coming out that looks more like an Xbox controller that you can buy as well. So yeah, that's kind of a drawback.
Nintendo has never really been good at understanding people's hands. I think, like if you like the N64 controller, I love that controller, but why does it have three prongs? Like who has three hands? You've got to like choose between 2/3 of the controls at any given time. Like that's just kind of nonsense. And like the Wii controllers, they were really cool at the time because it was like, wow, you get this great motion control. You can point at things. Nobody else is doing that. But they were just like they felt like a TV remote that was too blocky, kind of. Like, there's been some issues there. The GameCube controller, they got closer to it. I think the Pro controller is a really good call because it's just so simple and it's just, hey, it's a controller. No need for extra crazy stuff,
Yeah.
So
A couple of other things I've seen about it that are concerns that people have as far as how much onboard storage the Nintendo Switch has. What can you say about that? Because it doesn't seem like it's very much.
It's
for
not.
downloading these games.
It's not enough.
32 gigs of onboard storage.
Yeah,
I mean, how
you're gonna be buying a new memory card for that one pretty quick, I think. And especially because I think they were saying that Breath of the Wild was already a good chunk of that.
So
they said that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch requires 13.4 gigabytes of storage of the 32 gigabytes.
So that's almost half of your storage. It's just used up on one game.
Yep.
That seems like a very strange move. Why is it that they went with such a small storage on it?
I don't know. And the 3DS also had kind of the same problem. Again, I think this is stuff that like other consoles have figured it out. PC gaming has figured it out, data storage, and Nintendo is still kind of behind it because they're so used to just, we'll just put your cartridge in. What do you need storage for? But now that everything is going to be coming in the form of these downloads, people are going to realize really quick, when they install that and they install Mario Kart, and then they're like, well, I can't install any more games, that people are going to be running for a new memory card, or you install a bunch of games on a USB Type-C external drive.
Yeah.
You plug that in there. There you go.
Right. And I'm taking a look here at some of the comments coming in. And again, love to hear your thoughts on the Switch, whether you're going to buy it or maybe something you have concerns with or something you're excited about. Because, we're all excited when Nintendo comes out with something new because it's been so while been so long. But yeah, finding out some of the details on it and what's going to work, what's not going to work. Samir says, I don't plan on pre-ordering, but I will buy in May. Of course, if they do come out with a Zelda bundle with Zelda-themed Joy-Cons, I will definitely buy that. That would be an interesting thing if they can. I mean, with these interchangeable things on it, they probably can start coming out with extra add-ons, auxiliary controllers, or however else they want to do it. Christian says, I have not heard anything regarding Bluetooth compatibility. I would just love to use my Bluetooth headphones with the Switch. Is the Switch going to have Bluetooth capabilities?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that.
That's actually something I'm not sure about either. We'll take a look and get into that. We've got a great article at digitaltrends.com that kind of goes into some detail with it. But I haven't seen anything about Bluetooth compatibility. So I'm not sure if that's something that's going to be an add-on or not.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah.
It'd be a good idea, I think, with a lot of people moving to that.
Especially when you're on, traveling with it. I mean, Bluetooth headphones obviously is going to be the way to go in the future. So
yeah, it was funny actually on the way back from Vegas from CES. Computing editor Matt Smith was trying to play on his 3DS. He was trying to play Pokemon, and he realized that because he has the new iPhone, he doesn't have a way to plug because he has Lightning headphones, so he can't plug them into his 3DS, so he was trying to use dongles to plug them into his 3DS.
iPhone headphones. Let's see. Brady says, can't wait to grab one of these. Mario Odyssey. Yeah, excited about that, which is going to be a few months delay, so I'm curious if you'll buy it right at the beginning or not. Still a lot of details need to be given. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's come out, but yeah, that's little things like that, like Bluetooth compatibility. That is definitely something that we'll take a look at and see if we can get an answer for you. Hector says, I love my high-end PC, but I feel that Nintendo is made for the in real life multiplayer experience. That and being able to feel the main TV when the family wants to watch it while you can still play. Yeah. So yeah, that is again some of the big things that we've seen with this. So I guess kind of wrap up. Like, where do you with your article, which again is at digitaltrends.com. Brad wrote a big article about PC gaming and Nintendo and where everything kind of fits. Like, what else would you want to tell people about this as far as the Switch? Maybe from a PC gaming perspective.
Don't pre-order.
Don't pre-order.
I'm firmly on that boat that like companies need to, even Nintendo needs to sort of prove that they've got something worth playing first.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that. I've been burned on games. I'm not going to get burned on $300 hardware. Certainly if something does go wrong, because even big companies screw up. So
yeah. So wait till it comes out. Wait for them to work out the kinks
for those
on
reviews. Wait for people to have it. Which those big bugs.
Which there is a big review at digitaltrends.com right now. There's several different articles just about it and kind of going over some hands-on video showing some of the different gaming styles you can do with it and what it all comes with. I mean, it's definitely intriguing to me. I'm excited about it, but I'm going to follow your lead and not do a pre-order on it. Wait till it comes out. Wait till everybody gets their hands on it. I'm assuming we'll have one here that somebody will
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, we'll have one in New York, I imagine, with Mike Epstein, the gaming editor.
Okay.
But hopefully we'll be able to convince him to send it out here for a bit, or
bribe him somehow.
And maybe Digital Trends will be nice and buy a bunch for the office, and we can all play together.
That's way to lay down the hints on that. All right. Well, I think that's probably about it for today. So this is Close to the Metal, and this is our weekly show. So we'll be doing this live on Facebook and YouTube from now on. Usually Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. is when we'll be going live. But we've got a whole back catalog of podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get podcasts, and YouTube videos of this show. And each week we kind of go in depth with a specific topic. So it could be, GPUs one day or any kind of thing, external hard drives we did a show on. And today was, of course, the Nintendo Switch and PC gaming and where it fits. So if you want to send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, or feel free to drop a comment on these videos afterward too. And if you have any questions, we'll try to get to those and check out all the review articles at digitaltrends.com. So I think that's probably it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with another episode.